Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the 11th day of Squatchmas. Now, we've got an email tonight from someone who's emailed us almost every year of Squatchmas, and they tell us all about their Bigfoot named Charlie. So, settle in, get your place by the tree, and let's get started. Every year, I write in before Christmas telling you all about the Bigfoot that lives on our property here in Kentucky. His name is Charlie. First, I'll give you some catch-up and some background. Then I'll tell you how things went from last year's gifting. Then I'll give you the plans for this year and a little bit of other news. So let's see. Bigfoot Charlie is not a pet. He's not domesticated or habituated or whatever they call it. I don't communicate with him, but I really haven't tried either. Mostly he stays to his side of things, and we stay to ours. I've really only seen him 4 times in all the years we've lived here. The last time was 2 years ago, when I turned around to find him standing behind my four-wheeler. But he wasn't alone. He was watching, and he was waiting for the food I was putting out. I think it was more urgent for him because, well, he had a young female with him, and he was feeding her before he would feed himself. We were hoping she was pregnant. She was pretty thick around the middle, but it didn't happen, not that we know of. By spring, she was gone, and it was just Charlie again, out there all alone. We have a cleared area that's a few acres away from the house. There's a big log there, and that's where we leave things for him. We've learned through the years the things he likes, and more importantly, the things he does not like. We're retired, and we're on low-income living, but we are resourceful, and we do manage to find all sorts of things throughout the year at different rummage sales and thrift stores. Yeah, we give Christmas presents to Charlie, along with a really nice dinner. I think he knows when the days start to get dark early, that his special day of food and gifts is coming near. I've noticed in the fall that when I go out the back door, I feel eyes on me, and I don't most of the rest of the year. I think Charlie's out there waiting, watching, and hoping it's time for his big day. Now, don't get me wrong. I do leave food out there on and off throughout the year. Not just for him either. I've been helping many different animals that live out there. It's also a convenient way for us to clean out the fridge, although my wife Cheryl is prudent with our food and cooking, and we are not big on waste. We just don't have the money to do that. But sometimes it happens, and when it does, the hungry critters outside benefit. Now, last year, we left Charlie a real feast consisting of ham, mac and cheese, brownies, apples, and nuts, as well as many of the leftovers that my son and daughter-in-law send home with us. They are good and generous, but they really do send more than me and Cheryl could possibly eat probably in 2 weeks. Plus, we are both diabetics, so we stay away from carbs as much as possible. And a lot of the food that gets sent home from that holiday meal, well, it's pretty heavy carbs, but Charlie enjoys it. I mean, she usually sends home things like homemade scalloped potatoes, broccoli cheese casserole, fresh-made creamed corn, I don't mean the canned or frozen stuff, and green bean casserole. Sometimes she'll make ginger glazed roasted carrots, honey rolls, biscuits, cookies, chocolate silk pie, and Lordy, I don't remember what all. I tell you what, when my daughter-in-law cooks, she could feed Patton's Third Army without breaking a sweat. Every year we go to their home on Christmas Eve. We often spend the night. Sometimes we come home later in the day on Christmas Day. Sometimes we stay to the next day, just depending. But when we leave, my daughter-in-law loads us up. She means well, she really does. So we don't fuss too much or push back much. It helps us to help Charlie. And she thinks she's feeding us for a week, and that makes her feel good. Plus, she isn't dealing with leftovers in her fridge. So, we are all giving to each other in the spirit of love at Christmas, and all of us come away happy. So, I think it's a good deal. For non-food gifts last year, we gave Charlie a lot of different things, including a bag of marbles and some glass beads. Those disappeared. He also took the stuffed cat that we left for him. He likes anything that looks like a cat. The more realistic it is, the more likely he will take it. He also likes softly scented things. You can check back on my email from last year about that. We also last year hung up some shatterproof ornaments on ribbons from limbs of bushes and trees right out there in the clearing area. And he must have liked them too. He took every one of them. Every single one was gone the next day. I've known all along he likes shiny things, but that just proved it. We also gave him a regular kick-size ball from the dollar store. I honestly don't know if he liked it or not. Maybe it was an accident, but it was still out there at the log area. But it was flattened, like he had stepped on it. Maybe he didn't mean to do that. Maybe he didn't know what to do with the ball. I don't know. Maybe I'll try a ball again in the future and see what happens. I also gave him a book that was meant for toddlers. It was one of those with pages with zippers, buttons, strings, and things to lace up. To teach a toddler how to do things. Well, he left that book lying on the ground. I have learned through the past that things like books, papers, pictures, they don't seem to usually interest him, but I thought it was worth a try. Now this year, we were able to find more marbles and some different types of beads for him at different yard sales. He seemed to like those last year. Another thing I found was a little piano that was meant for kids. It's green plastic, and it looks like an alligator. I wonder how Charlie will like it. I also found one of those old Bop It toys. You remember those from the 90s? I put fresh batteries in it, and it worked. I thought maybe all the different sounds would interest him. I guess I'll know if I find it in pieces or not. I also found a stuffed hamster at the dollar store. It talks to you and makes little chittering noises when you pick it up, shake it, or squeeze it. I also found 2 more cat-shaped stuffed animals. They don't look very real. But then I found a Beanie Baby type of animal, but it's some knockoff no brand. But it looks surprisingly real. It's a gray striped tabby cat with very pretty blue eyes. They look like they're glass, but I think they're just plastic. It has been hard finding things this year that we think might interest him. Heck, any kind of thrifting this year has been hard. And most of the things that I'm finding at the thrift stores and yard sales this year, it's pure junk nobody wants. One of the women at the thrift store said they've got a few resellers in the area. They show up every day right at opening. They run through and grab what they want. Then they come back again and hang out in the afternoon because they know that more carts are going to be putting out on the floor again. The lady said, anything good, the resellers, especially the one that has 2 helpers with her, they take it. They load up the carts, and no one gets hardly anything else. Now, I don't know if that's true, but something's happening. I can't get anything like I used to. We used to be able to find anything we wanted if we just kept going to different yard sales and thrift stores. It might take a couple weeks, but we'd find it. I've gone all summer, and I haven't found the most simple things I used to find. It's nothing but junk. So anyway, back to Charlie and Christmas. We've now been resorting to buying from the dollar store instead. I found some more Matchbox cars for Charlie, and I found a few plastic cars that were bigger, kind of remote control sized, but they were not remote control. Although I did tinker with the idea of putting a remote control car out there. I wonder what he'd do with it. Could he possibly figure out how to use it? That might be something for the future. I know the things that I buy him, they usually don't last. But what do you expect? Is anything made Bigfoot proof? I don't think so. There was one thing, however, that I did find at the thrift store, and what a surprise it was. I saw it, and I snapped it up. It's a little stuffed Chewbacca from Star Wars. I was confused at first because it has a Disney tag on it, so I thought maybe it was supposed to be the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. But no, it has the over-the-shoulder belt thing that it wears, and the tag also says Chewbacca on it. Now, in the past few years, different people had suggested in the comments that I print out pictures of Bigfoot or get a book with pictures of Bigfoot and leave that out there. I have not done that because, well, Charlie has not responded well to mirrors. He hasn't responded well at anything that shows his own face. So I was a little hesitant to do that. But I don't know what possessed me. I saw that little Chewbacca, and I decided to take a chance. I guess if I find it torn apart or smashed into the mud, I'll know what he thinks of it. I'm writing this email the weekend after Thanksgiving 2024. I did get out this weekend to the dollar store and to a few other places. I found a lot of different things, and some of them I've already told you about. But I also found a marked down box of bird suet packs. They had been sliced open by a box knife, probably when unpacking. They taped the box up, and they marked them down. I got 12 suet packs full of nuts and seeds for $4. Now that's pretty cheap. I know Charlie will like those. He likes anything with fat, and he loves nuts and seeds. So I'm sure these will be a hit for him. Maybe I'll put one out every week or so throughout the winter for him. I also managed to get a good small ham, some boxes of mac and cheese, and a couple cans of salmon that were on sale. I'm putting those aside for Charlie's Christmas feast. I know between now and Christmas I'm sure to buy more. I always like to make it a special day for him. I know as a holiday it has no meaning to him, but I know that he still looks forward to his special food and gift day. When the days start getting shorter and darker, I start hearing him more and more. I know he's waiting for the sound of my four-wheeler going back out to the cleared area. I have not actually seen Charlie since the year before, when he was with that young female, but he does make himself, well, known more and more. I hear him more than I ever have. I sometimes wonder, maybe I've made a mistake by feeding him, even if it is infrequent. I can't help it. I'm a generous person. I may not have much, but I like to give. I will go buy dog food to feed a stray. I will eat less on my own dinner just to make sure there's enough to put out on another plate of food for someone else that may stop by. That's just how I was raised. I know this email this year isn't very long, but I really haven't seen Charlie, so there's not as much to report on. But I did want to let you know that I'm still following my belief of sharing, even with creatures that live in the wild. And I hope others also find it in their hearts to be kind this Christmas. I know this email is a little bit more scattered than it has been in the past years. My frame of mind is just becoming a little bit normal again. I will be doing the Christmas gifting this year alone because my wife, Shirley, had a light stroke in early November. Don't worry, she's doing fine. But I don't want her going out there with me this year. I will be doing the cooking of the ham and making the box mac and cheese and all the rest of it. I can do that on my own. But I do apologize if things are a bit scattered. It's been a heck of a month. I have not had the sighting of Charlie since the year before last, when he was with that female. So I don't have any extra updates on him or his health. I will say that the last time I saw him, he looked very healthy. I'm not sure what Bigfoot in its prime looks like, but I think if you could look it up in the dictionary, you'd see Charlie there. I just wanted to write to you all and tell you how much it has meant to me and Cheryl over the last few years to be able to share our gifting with Charlie. We never talked about it with anyone that we knew, and I don't think I have to tell you why. Especially since we are considered elderly, there are some people who would use that as an excuse to decide that we can't handle our own affairs anymore. And for the record, we don't like to be called elderly. We prefer to think of ourselves as a lot of life experience. That's all. There's no better story to share at this time of year than one that's full of giving, no matter how little you have. I expect by Christmas I'll find some more things discounted at the stores, and Charlie will have a big spread as usual, though I'm sure he will miss Cheryl's homemade mac and cheese. he's going to have to deal with the boxed variety from me. I hope to find some more cars and toys that I think he will like. It's just that everything is getting so expensive, and as I mentioned, you can't hardly get anything at the thrift stores anymore. It makes it pretty hard on people like us. Thank you for letting us share this with you. Thank you for all the kind words that I read in the comments. It's wonderful knowing there are so many good people out there. I hope when I write in again next year, I'll have had another sighting of Charlie to tell you about, and I'll be sure to tell you what he liked and didn't like from this year's Christmas gift giving. But this year, just know, sometime around noon on Christmas Eve, I'll take the four-wheeler out there with a portion of ham, a tinfoil pan full of mac and cheese, and anything else I can whip up for him. I'll set all the gifts out for him, right there on the log. I think I might wrap a few this year, see what he thinks of that, see if he figures out that they need to be unwrapped. I also have a plastic box full of shatterproof ornaments again. I bought those from the dollar store. I'll be hanging those from some sparkly ribbon. I know he loves sparkly and bright things. When I'm done out there, I'll go get Cheryl from the house, and we'll head to Whitesburg over to my son and daughter-in-law's house. We are planning to spend the night as usual. Then, depending on how Shirley feels, we'll either come home late Christmas Day or the next day. And when we come home, well, you know I'm going to be loaded with food. So I'll take that out to Charlie for second Christmas. So think of Charlie this Christmas Eve around noon Eastern Time. Shortly after, he'll be feasting and enjoying his own special holiday. Merry Christmas to you all. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I send you nothing but wishes of good things and happiness that will come to you. Thank you so much. With love from Kentucky, Russ and Shirley. I think this was the 4th year that Russ has sent something in about his Bigfoot Charlie. I love the thought that he's so generous and takes time to gift what he can to his Bigfoot. What a special relationship, if you could call it that. Now, if you want to hear about Russ's other emails from previous years, and they're pretty interesting, the things that Bigfoot reacts to and doesn't react to, it's kind of interesting. So if you want to hear those, I'll put the links to them in the video description below. Well, tomorrow is Christmas Eve and the 12th day of Christmas. Now we're going to have a special story tomorrow. It's Christmas as told through the eyes of a Sasquatch. Now, if you remember Ophelia's stories over the last few months, well, you'll know you're in for a good treat. So be sure to tune in tomorrow for a Christmas with Sasquatch. Well, I think that's going to do it for the 11th day of Squatchmas. Until we meet up again tomorrow, always remember, absence of proof is not proof of absence. Thanks for listening.